Okay guys, andito pa tayo sa Philippine Senate. Ito yung building katabi ng GSI. So last time I check, hindi pa sila lumipat sa Senado. Marami tayong mga mga taong kasama dito. Now, obviously yung initial version ng impeachment rally was supposed to be just a general call na maayos yung trial, na hindi Mickey Mouse yung trial, hindi Mickey Mango yung trial. But unfortunately, mukhang since last night, things have taken a different turn dahil parang natokang eh. Parang natokang yung impeachment eh. Hindi natin maintindihan ano po yung constitutional or legal basis na sinasabi nila na i-remand or i-remit back to or i-return. Hindi daw ito dismissal kasi kung maalala nyo guys, initially, ang pinupush ng Team Piatos, for the lack of better term, was i-dismiss talaga yung impeachment complaint entirely, no? Para wala nang trial at all. That failed because konti lang sumuporta dyan. It's quite telling that even yung mga katulad it's quite telling na even yung mga tao na in-expect mo to be firmly in the Duterte camp were either unaware or were feigning unawareness or they were saying na parang hindi nila alam kung may resolution. I mean, let's just talk about Bongo, for instance, Senator Bongo. He seemed quite flustered or unsure kung merong mga resolution. There were conflicting reports. Tatlo daw resolution, isa daw resolution. Eventually, Senator Bato claimed that he was the one behind the resolution to basically tokang or to dismiss the complaint. And then you had the more legalist, shibboleth, mumbo-jumbo argument coming from Triple Masters outgoing senator na natalo na naman itong election na to si Tolentino, na kung hindi ito ma-take up ng 90th Congress, effectively ito ay dismiss na. So there were all sorts of mumbo-jumbo shenanigans, but hindi siya nag-work eh dahil na nag-gets ng mga senador, including those who were quite friendly to Duterte, like talk about J.V. Ejercito, talk about one of the big donors to the Sara campaign, Sherwin Gatchalian. Pati sila lumabas sila at sabi nila constitutional duty. Ito ay mandato ng Senado to take upon yung itong trial na to once it has been transmitted to the upper house. So medyo, I don't know guys, to be honest, the mood supposedly today was to ensure na itong impeachment trial is not a Miggy Mango trial. Ito ay legit trial, ito ay robust trial. Ito ay isang trial kung saan yung prosecution team will be allowed to present all evidence that is necessary and call upon the defense to answer all the relevant questions. So dapat proper 100% robust scrutiny po, including, and of course, ito yung pinaka-crux of the issue, as Justice Carpio put in one of our shows on Deep Dive. The crux of the issue is show me the money trail. Show me the money trail. Kung makakaroon ng proseso or procedure dyan sa impeachment kung saan pwede mag-call upon yung prosecution team to check yung mga bank accounts or alleged bank accounts na allegedly may mga kakaibang nangyari, no, in terms of transfers and all of that. Now, for all we know, if ever it goes to that point, mukhang malaban na in this Congress, maybe in the next Congress, but that's a big maybe. That's why pag-usapan din natin yan. The big thing is, will there be a trial that allows for that? And if ever, who knows? Baka dud lang yan, di ba? But anyway, what I want to say is that, to be honest, people are angry, people are confused, dahil yung nangyari the other night was actually, the more you look at it, the more confusing it gets, because hindi daw na-dismiss pero i-remit back to the Congress. At the same time, humingi din sila ng input doon sa doon sa mga allegedly guilty party. So this was like a compromise in three different ways. It's kind of a dismissal but not a dismissal. It's kind of a trial but not really a trial, and it's kind of a 19th Congress taking upon the trial but also kicking it down the road. Kaya sobrang malabo nangyari. Kaya nakikita mo yung emotions ng mga tao ngayon is actually very indignant. People are actually very frustrated. They don't know what exactly it's happening there. But ang klaro dito is, hindi na yata dribble itong ginagawa eh. Parang ibang sport na ito eh. Kasi the dribbling was from basically February until now, kung saan yung interpretation ng forthwith became 4 months, right? And then biglang may ibang excuse na naman sila na, may mga legislative priorities tayo, so mamaya na lang yan. Eventually, nag-give in si CHIZ, but after twice delaying this, even based on his own schedule and deadline, and yet, ngayon, di pa rin natin naintindihan what's going on. Now, what I want to say here is this. Couple of things. First of all, last night at least, nagkaalaman na sino yung mga senador or sino yung mga legislators natin na at least may minimal level of respect dun sa ating saligang batas or base sa kanilang pag-intindi sa ating saligang batas, right? Yes, hintayin po natin ang Supreme Court, pag-usapan natin shortly yan, but as of now, guys, last night nakita natin na at least there are 5 senators there who correctly pointed out that not only ito ay constitutional duty ng Senado, importantly, parang ang labo kung i-remit mo back sa Congress yan at hindi tatagambin ng Congress yan, what the heck is gonna happen now, right? Because obviously Congress, as per their press conference kanina, is saying this is kalokohan ito. Wala itong basihan sa ating saligang batas. And accordingly, tama yung prediction natin, Nancy Binay, Grace Poe, Sherwin Gatchalian, and the brave two of Coco Pimentel and Riza Ontiveros voted against yung resolution, mumbo-jumbo resolution ng kabilang kampo, which was to basically de facto dismiss this, right? Whatever thesaurus, synonyms, dictionary yung ginamit nila kahapon, whatever semantics, Olympics yung ginawa nila kahapon, this was ridiculous. So at least, those brave 5, they made their place in history clear. Pangalawa, I think now, for people na medyo naiinis na nangyari ngayon is, there are a couple of options forward. The logical option right now is dadalhin ito sa Supreme Court. There's already, I think, a pending case in the Supreme Court regarding this case. Since February, you had Senator Tolentino, among others, also saying na yung forthwith dapat i-define ng Supreme Court yan. Because after all, if you look at the notion of forthwith, it's immediate but also given the circumstances. So paano mo i-define yung given the circumstances in terms of convening of the plenary, legislative priorities, yung interregnum with the elections and all of that. So what we're also looking at, guys, here is the Supreme Court gonna act upon this quickly and swiftly? Some luminaries like Justice Carpio are quite optimistic that the Supreme Court will do something about this. But there are also others who are fearing na baka bating Supreme Court, hindi naman count down, ipapasa na naman nila yan. Sorry, football guy. You know, like, ipapas na naman, ipapas back. Ipapas yan. Ronaldo, Messi, ayan, okay. Mbappe, Yamal, okay. So, yan ang worry natin. Magpapasaan lang sila. Mag-volleyball na lang tayo dito. Di ba? Medyo kalokohan na. Hindi na to basketball. Di ba? Hindi lang to dribble ng dribble. So, let's really hope the Supreme Court steps up to the plate here. And hopefully behind the scenes, there's some negotiations, there's some understanding na baka eventually, if there's gonna be a trial, maybe the Supreme Court Chief Justice should preside it. Kasi mukhang, which brings me to number 3 issue. Sobrang gulo ng Senado ngayon, guys. Katulad nung nakita natin nung natanggal si Mick Zubiri bilang Senate President. That was really a strange situation. Even Bato voted against him despite claiming that they're in the same team, blah, blah, blah. So in short, sabog yung leadership ngayon. At yung internal alignments sa Senado ay sobrang all over the place. So because of that, guys, hindi tayo klaro if anyone, as of now, at least in this Congress, will feel confident enough to oversee a robust procedure to move forward. So in short, yung mga pa-cute moves, pa-bebe moves, mga CHIZ moves ni ESCUDERO, I think that's also a reflection of weakness. That's a reflection of not weakness of integrity and character, but reflection of weakness in terms of internal balance of forces. Huling punto po, what we're seeing right now is indignation by people. Marami naiinis ngayon. And this is where my fear comes in. Kung maalala niyo last year, dun sa year-ender analysis natin with Secretary Ronald Llamas and with Justice Carpio, one of the things we discussed is yung RevGov temptation. Na kung magalit ang tao at mawala ng tiwalang tao sa ating mga institusyon, kung ang tingin ng tao is puro mga timpyatos ang mangyari, kung ang tingin ng tao is, well, kung may gusto may paraan, pero kung takot, daming dahilan, you know, if people are gonna lose trust in our institutions, they're gonna feel that walang effective checks and balances, kung tingin lang nila mga tuta lang yung mga ibang senador, etc., people are gonna get angry and angrier. And my fear is not magkakaroon ng chaos or anarchy dito, which we don't want. We don't want chaotic people power or whatever like that. But my fear is, lalong maging attracted ang tao dun sa idea na baka kailangan natin ng RevGov or kailangan natin ng isang authoritarian leader. And that, my friend, that's why the Senate is being extremely, extremely irresponsible and they're playing with fire. So guys, kausapin natin ng mga ibang tao dito today and let's try to get different points of view para ma-appreciate natin yung range of opinions and emotions when it comes dito sa kababalakan na nangyari sa Senado. Maraming salamat. Talk to you soon.
At Duterte, litisin,
and to serve and defend its conduct.
ng sektor, magkagawa sa ilalim.
Mula sa sektor ng anumang gagawin.
Habang tayo naman ay lumalakas, noong 2024, inarangan natin ang patagong charter change.
Kamusta pa yan? Good to see you. Not necessarily under the best circumstances. Anong basa mo sa nangyari nung isang gabi? Parang na-dismiss na parang hindi na-dismiss. Ano yun? Nag-Thesaurus Olympics pa sila. Anong nangyari dyan?
Grabe yung mental gymnastics ng Senado para lang makalusot sila sa kanilang obligasyon na itry na finally yung kaso ni VP Sara. So talagang nakakadismaya at nakakapanggalit yung nangyari kagabi na niremand yung impeachment complaint binalik sa House of Representatives. Wala namang remand sa konstitusyon, wala namang remand sa rules of the impeachment court of the Senate. So klarong parang gawa-gawa lamang yung ginawang aksyon ng Senado para lang makalusot sila at makatakas sa kanilang obligasyon na ituloy na yung impeachment
Takot
trial.
ba sila sa kanilang obligasyon or nag-abogado na sila already for the VP Sara? Kasi yun ang akusasyon ng Kongreso which clearly said, anong pinagsasabi yung remission or remanding or walang ganyan.
Wala ngang ganon. Actually, ang nakakagalit palalo, sinuot nila yung robes kahapon at dapat yun ay nagpapakita na sila dapat ay fair senator judges. Sila yung pinaka magiging maglilitis kay Sara. Pero ang naging dating ay sila naman yung parang protector at defender ni Sara. So para silang kung merong bias dito sa sitwasyon na ito, parang sila yung biased in favor of Sara. So parang ano ba yon? Takot ba sila? At naduwag dahil sa pananakot ni VP Sara o gusto nilang protektahan pa siya at sila pa yung sagabal sa katotohanan. Sila nga dapat yung nag-uncover ng katotohanan at nagtumitingin sa ebidensya. Ngayon sila pa yung tumututol na makita ito ng taong bayan.
Kakandaan lang ni Percy, siya yung nagsabi kung may gusto, may paraan. Ito parang kung takot, maraming dahilan. Ganun ba yung nangyari?
Ayun na nga.
Sa mo takot sila sa kay VP Sara?
Well, ganun yung lumalabas. Parang naduwag yung ating mga senador. Kung tutuusin, klaro naman yung nasa konstitusyon, gagawin lang nila yung kanilang obligasyon. Exactly. Kung hindi, at parang actually, sila ay natakot kay VP Sara, pero parang ang lumalabas din, takot sila sa totoo, sa katotohanan. Tama, takot sila na magka-trial kasi pag nagka-trial, makikita ng taong bayan saan ba napunta yung confi funds? Sino ba si Mary Grace Piatos? At finally, makikita natin sino ba yung mga nag-deposit sa bangko ni VP Sara at gayon din ng tatay niya. So, siguro takot sila na makita natin yung kagano kagrabe yung kanilang pagnanakaw sa taong bayan. Kaya todo-todo yung pagdidribble, yung pagprotekta nila kay VP Sara.
Hindi na yata dribble yan. Tapusin ko lang kasi ulan na. Last paeng, anong dapat gagawin ng sambayanan Pilipino, mga law-abiding citizens, mga citizens na gusto nila ng katotohanan, accountability? Dahil sabi nga ni Bato back in the day, di ba? Kung wala ka naman ginawang mali, dapat wala kang ikakatakot sa batas. Kaya kahapon, even Sherwin Gatchalian na alam natin top donor sa campaign ni Sara Duterte, pati siya sabi na let's just have a trial. Si Coco Pimentel na dating Duterte ally ay very strongly supporting at least convening of the trial. So what should happen next? Anong kailangan ng gawin ng tao aside from indignation rally today?
Tuloy-tuloy ang ating pagtindig kasi kung yung Senado natin mismo ayaw sundin ng konstitusyon, tayong mga Pilipino magsasama-sama para pilitin, ipakita sa kanila na we will not stand for this disgraceful show of the Senate. And we will make them feel yung init ng ating pagtindig at yung ating dismaya dito sa napakalalang pag-disrespect sa ating batas, sa ating konstitusyon, at lalong-lalo na sa hustisya at katotohanan na hinihingi ng taong bayan.
Kunting singit ko lang, just to end on a more positive note on this discussion. Biggest ever, Akbayan, most successful party list. How do you feel about, does that give you yung kumpiyansa na kailangan nyo para tuloy-tuloy lang itong adhikain na to and heading to 2028?
Naramdaman ng akbayan yung pagmamahal ng ating taong bayan itong nakaraang eleksyon. Nakikita din natin yung kanilang pagtitiwala dun sa mga pinaglalaban at mga prinsipyo na ating tinataguyod. And hopefully itong suporta na ito ay lumaki pa at maipakita katulad sa mga pagkilos na ito na yung mga tinitindigan nating issue nandun din talaga yung ordinaryong mamamayan.
Salamat pa yan. God bless. Tuloy-tuloy lang yan. Talk to you soon. Pasensya na. Nakabala kita, please. Okay guys, kasama natin si Paeng, Rafaela Paeng. The best yan. Siya na yung president ng Akbayan Party List, overseeing the most successful ever performance by any party list in Philippine history. Lampas sa 5% ng total votes na napanalo ng Akbayan. But yun nga it's a numbers game. It's about building momentum. It's about righteous anger. Kaya natutuwa tayo na may mga rising young leaders tayo na katulad ni Paeng at sana tuloy-tuloy lang ito. Later on dito, pag ikot natin dito, let's talk to other people to also get different points of view. Obviously not the DDS point of view, but basically anyone else who's not DDS. Pero baka may makita tayong DDS mamaya. I love you, BBM! I love you, BBM! First, I saw you kanina, you just catwalked through me and Paeng. Ganun na ba ang number one party list representative? Ganun ba
Hindi
yan?
naman, nagkataon lang kasi ang baho dito. Sobrang baho dito. Ang baho dito sa Senado ngayon.
Akala ko
Grabe.
teenage lang.
Grabe yung kabulukan nangyayari sa loob.
From 1 to CHIZ, gaano ka problematic yung situation?
Ang baho-baho ng sitwasyon, bulok na bulok kasi pilit nilang binubulok yung buong mechanism natin for holding public officials accountable. Yung ginagawa to ng Senado, akala nila ang nililigtas lang nila si Sara Duterte. Ang pinapalusot lang nila si Sara. Pero ang ginagawa nila, pati yung mga darating na panahon, palulusutin nila na mas madali yung mga tiwali at abusadong mga
Did you
opisyal.
expect yung ginawa nila kahapon na basically nag-thesaurus semantics Olympics? Kung hindi dismiss, maghanap tayo ng ibang paraan.
Yes, kung hindi dismiss, maghanap tayo ng ibang word. Parang yung sa fourth with, parang yung sa convened but not constituted. So parang naglalaro sila ng Scrabble para palusutin lang yung kanilang poon.
And you, coming from the Congress, my press conference this morning regarding yung idea ng remanding, remitting back. What the heck is that?
Kung ako lang ang masusunod, hindi dapat tanggapin na House of Representatives. Kasi parang sinabi mo na meron silang full authority over the House.
To dictate you.
To dictate tayo doon sa ating internal processes. Kasi as far as we are concerned, nagawa natin ang due diligence, nasunod natin yung House rules, compliant with the constitutions, naibigay natin, naipasa natin ang articles of impeachment. So wala silang karapatan doon sa proseso ng House of
So huli,
Representatives.
ano yung next step aside from taking this to the Supreme Court and hopefully the other, kasi ang takot ng iba is baka iba backpass. Hindi na dribbling to iba na to
Oh,
Iba
hindi na to
time
dribbling.
out na to
Hindi na to dribbling. Ito ay traveling na. At yung traveling
Time travel ba yung nangyari? Gusto mo sumawa? Time travel ba to?
Hindi ito, no? Hindi ito pag-dribble. Nag-dribble na, tapos nag-traveling pa at yun
Yeah,
ay foul.
traveling, yeah. So what should people do? Aside from indignation rally, what's the game plan now?
Well, we
What
have
should people do?
to be very mindful of the fact na itong mga taong ito, tatakbo pa ito sa ibang posisyon. At ipaalala natin sa kanila that pwede natin silang i-hold accountable
Hall of
when the
Shame?
time
Hall of
comes.
Shame?
Hall of Shame, kanal, ilagay sa kanal, ibaon sa imbornal yung mga pangalan. Nang sa ganun, pagdating ng eleksyon, aalingasaw yan at maaalala natin, huwag i-shade pag nandun na tayo
Yung
sa
Brave
balota.
Five and Kiko and Bam also coming in the next Congress, does that give you hope?
There is hope at ang naramdam ko yung pag-asa narito talaga. Dumadami yung mga tao, dumarating kasi ayaw pumayag doon sa kabahuan at kabulukan nangyayari sa loob.
On that very pungent note, thank you very much, Congressman Percy. See you soon.
Hindi tayo pwedeng iwalang hiya ng mga yan.
Kaya very quickly lang, anong dapat gawin ngayon ng mga taong bayan? Anong basa niya sa nangyari kahapon from a constitutional standpoint?
Well, unang-una, kitang-kita naman at malinaw na malinaw yung utos ng ating sa konstitusyon na dapat magkaroon kaagad-agad ng trial. Anong ibig sabihin ng trial? Ay pakinggan na tanggapin na yung ebidensya, yung mga testigo at iba pang mga ebidensya. Yan ay hindi pa rin nangyayari hanggang ngayon. Imbis na gawin yon ay kung ano-ano mga ginagawa ng Senado. Kaya
Thesaurus
talagang
Olympics yata, Semantics Olympics.
Ay.
Kung not dismissed from a constitutional standpoint, may basihan ba yung ginawa nila kahapon?
walang-wala. As in zero.
So this is unconstitutional.
Yes, definitely.
So you're expecting the Supreme Court to come in eventually? Anong mga dapat gawin ng
Well,
tao?
tingin ko, unang-una dapat marinig ang boses ng sambayan ng Pilipino at kailangan natin na yanigin ang Senado hanggat makita nila na dapat sundin nila yung utos ng bayan dahil yung saligang batas ay bayan ang gumawa niya.
At huling point, since very colorful and happy colors tayo, how do you feel being part of the most successful party list in the history of party list. And,
Oh, extremely, I'm ecstatic. Thank you.
and what are you looking? What should people look forward to in the next 3 years?
Marami tayong gawin at nakahanda na po yung aming legislative agenda.
Salamat, Chel.
Attorney Dino, good to see you again. Good to see you again. Dramatic circumstances. Ano yan? Kailangan.
Occupy
Kailangan
Senate ba to?
tambayan.
Oh my God, nag-occupy Senate yung mga kasama natin. Ito. Alam natin may House of Piatos. May Team Piatos dyan. But were you surprised na ganyan ka-brazen ginawa nilang Thesaurus Olympics kahapon?
Well, alam mo, doon sa Senado na to, hindi na ako nasusurprise eh. Hindi ko nga alam kung aasa pa ako kasi ang sakit lagi na umasa eh. No?
There's no floor.
Oo, pero kailangan, meron silang mga false hope na ibibigay eh. Itatransmit daw nila yung isa-summons daw nila, tapos sabihin nila, i-convene nila. Pero in the end, ibabalik rin pala nila. So ano ba talaga? Hindi ko naman alam na nag-elect tayo ng mga basketball player, ang galing mag-dribble, di ba?
Parang hindi ibang sports na
Ibang klase.
Nag-invent ng bagong sport.
Oo, ibang klase. So ako, sa akin lang, if the institutions are not working, it's up to the people to take back democracy. We have to make sure that the Senate will do its job.
Back democracy.
This is part of democracy. We are exercising our constitutional right to free speech and to organize. All of these things are part of the Constitution. This is a guaranteed right na inallocate ng mga taong bayan para sa sarili nila.
And Dino, may constitutional basis pa itong remit, remand, what? This whole remit, remand thing, I mean, what the heck?
Wala. Kasi alam mo, ang impeachment court, hindi sila higher court sa House of Representatives ha. Yung House of Representatives, when they already transmitted the articles of impeachment, tapos na ang trabaho nila. Dapat, forthwith. Itong forthwith na to, nakakasakit na ng ulo eh. Parang ano ba hindi nila naiintindihan sa forthwith? English man yan, Tagalog man yan, malinaw ang ibig sabihin ng forthwith. Kailangan na mag-proceed ng trial ng Senado ngayon na.
And last point, so what are the practical steps aside from taking this to the Supreme Court? Do you expect Supreme Court to respond? Baka magpasahan din ang Supreme Court. And what should people do? Is this about 2028? Is this about mobilizing? Is this about making a hall of shame ng mga Team Piatos?
Well, dapat mag-mobilize talaga kahit na hindi lang dito sa Senado, di ba? In our private communities, in our homeowners associations, in our barangays, in our youth groups, kailangan maging participants tayo ng democracy. I anticipate na magkakaroon ng kaso sa Supreme Court, pero para sa akin, ang importante, ang taong bayan, maningil na sa Senado dahil hindi ginagawa ng Senado ang trabaho nila.
Parang sinasabayan ng energy level mo, Elino. Thank you so much on that. Talk to you soon, attorney. Enjoy the day. Okay guys, so ito na, things got dramatic. Ito na guys, ito na yung sinasabi ko na mamaya maging occupy Senate ng ang mangyari dito. But you can see na grabe yung indignation ng tao at you can see yung energy level ni Dino. Galing yan sa righteous anger guys.
Dalhin. Di sa impeachment! Convict! Sana no!
Alright guys, ang dami natin nakausap today. We had the pleasure of talking to, of course, the great Secretary Ronald Llamas, but also of course yung mga talagang maayos, hindi naman. Yung mga kaibigan din natin sa larangan ng policy making, among others. Of course, we had Congressman Percy kanina, the first sponsor ng first impeachment complaint laban kay Vice President Sara Duterte. That was a very risky move. That was a very difficult move, but eventually umusad yan. Ang problema lang naman ay medyo na-remit back. So medyo nagdi-dribble tayo. We also had the pleasure of talking to Chel Jokno, the first nominee of Akbayan, who has been part of this historic success. And of course, kasama din natin yung President ng Akbayan, si Payeng. So we feel very, very lucky getting the voices of these very progressive figures who will play a very important role sa mga dadaan na taon when it comes to bringing about the kind of a true progressive transformation sa ating bansa. Alam natin, kailangan natin ng tunay na pagbabago. We need radical transformation. Otherwise, we're gonna be stuck with clown show. We're gonna be stuck with the worst Senate ever. At least sa darating na Senado, meron tayong katulad ni Kiko, meron katulad ni Bam Aquino, among others. Kudos kay Bam, by the way, for releasing the statement. Good statement on the impeachment issue from a constitutional standpoint, as promised. But guys, this is a numbers game. Nakita natin kahapon, there were brave 5, but at the same time, the majority, it looks like iba yung mga priorities nila. Hindi yung saligang batas, hindi yung kanilang mga obligasyon sa ilalim ng ating saligang batas at obligasyon base sa mandato nila bilang mga senador. So I think this was hopefully another but more critical inflection point, wake-up call sa ating mga taong bayan. So on that note, guys, I expect to see more drama, more contestation, and more democratic mobilization sa mga darating na panahon. So stay tuned. Marami tayong mga cover na mga, political events sa ating bansa. Thank you very much.